On 4th November 2014, during the American midterm elections, Americans went to vote, went to make a choice of the best leaders. On the same day, 4th November 2014, the Lord also made his best choice. He took away from us my sister, the sibling that I follow. He chose her among billions of Kenyans. And I can say that that was a great vote. He chose the best. My sister was my mother's firstborn. She had two names, Nyakínyua and Wamūyū. She was called Nyakínyua and Wamūyū. Both names were the names of my maternal grandmother. My maternal grandmother was called Nyakínyua and Wamūyū. Among Kikuyus, especially those from Madera, they have two names. They have two vernacular names. Among our Bukusus, we do have two vernacular names, but in a very different circumstances. Because among our Bukusu, one is supposed to have his name or her name. For example, I'm JI-TENGE, and I'm also supposed to have a second name, a Kikuyu name. This Kikuyu name, because my mother was a Kikuyu, they say jina la wajomba. If I go with you to where my jombas are, they are not even supposed to call me JI-TENGE. They are supposed to call me that name. But I do not have a Kikuyu name because I was named after my father's father, paternal grandfather, JI-TENGE. He was JI-TENGE and I was called JI-TENGE. According to Bukusu tradition, I was supposed to be named after a dead relative, and the nearest dead relative was my grandfather, JI-TENGE. But according to Kikuyu tradition, I, being the eldest son of my parents, I'm supposed to have my paternal name, my paternal grandfather's name. So the Kikuyu saw no need of giving me another name. But if you ask people from Webuye about my uncle's names, they'll say I'm called Wandahuhu. Wandahuhu is because my mother was a very good cook, and we used to go for second helping, but I used to go for the third helping. So she would say, Vyekolia Wadahuhu. Wadahuhu, for those of you who do not know Kikuyu, means glutton. So Luyas think that my Kikuyu name is Glutton, although if they know, they'll not call me. Don't tell them. So my sister had two names according to the tradition. I want to say here that when my parents knew each other, when the then Inspector of Police, Ben Gethi, introduced my parents to each other, my mother was a single mother. She had one daughter, one child who was a girl. And that one child who was a girl is my sister of today's topic. According to Kikuyu tradition, a lady is not compelled to disclose the children whom she has, their fathers. She can be a single mother, and it is accepted in Kikuyu. So according to Kikuyu, a single mother gives names only on her side. Only on her side. She does not give names on the other side because she has not even disclosed it. So my mother getting a daughter, what I'm trying to say is that I am half a Kikuyu, half a Luya. But my sister was pure Kikuyu, And she was a daughter of a single mother before my parents knew each other. So according to Kikuyu tradition, my sister had to be given our maternal grandmother's name. Our maternal grandmother was, as I said, Kikuyus have two names each, two traditional names. My grandfather, my Kikuyu grandfather had two names, Morioki and Karithi. My grandmother had Nyakínyua and Wamūyū. There is my younger mother, she was called Wanjiku and Mori. There's Mama Mkubwa Muthoni who was also called Muringo. So and my uncle Guyo was also called Mwangi. Washiro was also called Ikabe. So they have two names. Eh? So my grandmother was Wamūyū and Nyakínyua. And all the 6 houses from my grandfather's house, the 4 mothers and 2 jombas, all of them had daughters called Wamūyū Nyakínyua. The only thing is that you could differentiate was through Christian name. My grandmother was Bilha, my sister was Lydia, there is Catherine, there is Liz, there is Lucy, there is, depending on, so all of them had their, but the other 2 names were Nyakínyua and Wamūyū. I can say that, talking as a Luhya, because I've taught my wife, you can see she's in the middle there holding one of our kids. I've taught my wife Kikuyu tradition. And the Kikuyu tradition is that, I mean, not even the Kikuyu, my wife is a Maragoli. I've taught her 2 traditions because Vihiga do not have Bukusu tradition. And when she's in Webuye, she knows how to act as a lady in a Bukusu family. And when she's in Madira, she knows how to behave like a lady in a Kikuyu family. So I was saying that when my mother got married, she was a single mother, and according to Bukusu tradition, is that when you get married to a lady who has a child, chances of marriage being broken are very high. In fact, your own parents may even veto that marriage. But it becomes easier if you are marrying a lady who has a daughter. But the one who has a son, kuna kesi mrefu sana. You are told, first of all, we want to identify the father of the child, and we want to know that if the child reaches a certain age, circumcision age, he will have to join his father's. He will have to be circumcised from his father's place, or he'll be circumcised outside, homesteady, things such as that. There's so many discrimination and whatever. But if it is a girl, they say, first of all, they will not even want to know the father, because once they know the father, according to the Luhya tradition, it is the biological father who earns the dowry. So they say, if it is a girl, she's going to be married and we will get cows and so on and so forth. So whatever. So it was easier for my mother to get married when she had a daughter. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this that I owe my life to my sister. Because if my mother would have given birth to a boy, then my parents would not have been born, I would not have been married, and Kenya would never have had its best history teacher, its best history and trained teacher. So I owe my life to my sister. And then when my mother got married and went to Western, Waluhya generally ni watu ya songi. Someone asked me what songi is. Udaku, kusengenya, kuongea nini. So when my mother was newly married, people used to tell her, you have a daughter. Sijui nini nini. Lando will not educate your daughter. Luhya men do not educate other men's children. But you see, my mother being the industrious Kikuyu lady, she did not enter into those fitinas and whatever. She took that positively and kept it at the back of her mind. Kept it at the back of her mind. Then one day, she hired a tractor to farm. But the tractor fellow, wanting to get more than what he was hired for, instead of working for the acreage that he was given, he 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 cleared another 15 acres. He cleared another 15 acres, 12 to 15 acres. And then when my mother came and found that 12 more acres have been cleared, she decided farming there. The proceeds, the proceeds is what she bought a plot in Kabrengu. Many people call me Kabrengu, but you see, Kabrengu comes because of my sister, the one that I'm remembering her today. My mother took a lot of loans, took a lot of whatever, bought a lot of, farmed a lot on our farm, farmed a lot on our farm, and then she started, and she was very inquisitive. She never went beyond standard 4, but if she would have been educated the way we are educated and she would have been a CID officer, she could make a very good investigation officer or intelligence officer. So my mother was asking people, uh, this trading center, why do you call that hill Maturu? She was told, you see, it looks like a breast, a lady's breast. And why do you call this place Luandeti? She was told Luandeti is Kalenjin word for saying Mwamba, Mwamba, large rock. Chimoi, Chimoi is somebody, you know, the former president, his father was called Kimoi. But you see, Kabras cannot pronounce Kimoi, so they say Chimoi. That is why you even hear our relatives in Uganda, they say, let he cheat nikai, instead of kit nikai. So she was told Kimoi, which is Chimoi, is named after a Kalenjin man, elder. And Kabrengu, oh, Kabrengu ni pahali pa watu wa kuzubaa, pahali pa watu Ohorengu wa pahali. I said, I'm going to develop this place. Then proceeds from, you know, she took positively what she was told. Those ladies had her co-wives, my aunts who are married to kina baba wengine, had intended to let a songi, but she took it positively. The proceeds that she got from the 12 acres, she used that money to go and buy a plot in Kabrengu. When she went to buy a plot in Kabrengu, that is why many people call me Kabrengu, and even my security firm is called Kabrengu, although it's dormant. So she bought there and told the people that this place that you're saying that Watu wa Kuzuba, one day it will be an internationally known town because of my sister, whom I'm remembering today. Then from there, I remember I've talked to you about how my Kikuyu grandmother visited my Bukusu grandmother. You see, that grandmother of mine is of the Kibukusu one is related. She was related to Wamalwa Kijana. I've said that, and a lot of people have thanked me for that entertaining story about the two grandmothers meeting. So when my grandmother Kikuyu came to visit the Bukusu grandmother, the Vaengere grandmother, the Wamalwa Kijana family grandmother, I remember that day like yesterday when she was boarding a bus to go back. It was an evening bus. My sister Nyakínyua insisted on going with her. I even remember there is some sugar cane which had been cut into certain shape. So as my grandmother was pushing her out of the bus and entering, it cut her leg and the leg bled and she entered the bus. And that was the time my sister forever moved out of Western and stayed in Karatina. Not really Karatina. Karatina is Madeira West. but at Kayava. So that is where my sister was brought up, and she went to Kiarithaine school. My sister, since I was born, I've only differed with my sister once. How many of you can say that? From the day I was born to the day she died. Why am I saying from the day? Because she was there before I was born, isn't it? And there was no way we could. And then the day she died, in 2014 up to today, we cannot quarrel because she's dead. We only differed once. And we differed because of our other sister, who for over 30 years has been amenisumbua sana. Amenisumbua sana. Let me talk about this mad woman. Amenisumbua sana. Recently, I recorded about not a handful of videos on her, because for over 30 years she has ananichukulia kwamba mimi ni mjinga. Every time she attacks me, and then unajua sisi tumezaliwa, mama amekufa, she is very sad akiona she thinks I'm stupid, sijui nini. But when I sent a few videos, she checked herself into a mental hospital. Yes, it is true. I am one of the best intelligence officers in Kenya. And when we index you, we have a lot of information on you. It's only that we just keep quiet and we don't tell you. So she has always been taking me that huyu ni mjinga tu, tamtukana na ufanye nini. And she's the one, okay, sorry to have talked about it, but I'm saying that she's the one who caused me and my sister Lidya Nyakínyua Wamūyū to differ. It was in Mombasa at Nyakínyua's place. We only differed once. Imagine, who else can say that about his sister or his brother? Or which lady can talk about her brother or her sister that way? And again, the difference we had, me and Lidya Nyakínyua Wamūyū, was because of this mad woman. She's okay, we are all the degree of madness in her, but wakati nilimshambulia, she checked herself into a mental hospital. She's currently, what do you call? She's currently an outpatient in a mental institution. So I can say that we only differed with my sister once, and then we met. We met in Karatina in my grandmother's place, and my grandmother also Nyakínyua Wamūyū had not yet died, and I mean, I was just you see, burning and whatever. But then when my sister left, my grandmother called me, said, "Do you know what your sister just told me when she was around?" I said, "No, I don't know. Your sister says she wronged you in Mombasa, but you have forgotten the way you are behaving. You have forgotten the way she wronged you." As I've said, I was hurting inside, but and you see, it was so very strong for her to go and tell our grandmother. And I think I forgave her on that day, and it went on that way. Shortly before she died, she came. She insisted on seeing me. She insisted on seeing me. Well, she came with our other sister from another mother, uh, called Agnes Mokami. They came. We had a very nice time. I can tell you that is one of my happiest time in the world. I remember for once saying that a lot of people. I just talked to her emotionally, and there are some things when somebody is about to die. Things. Imagine she was not sick. She was as maybe healthier than I am now. And after all those jokings and whatever and doing whatever, I just turned to her and said, "My sister," she said, "Yes. You have heard our mother saying that. You have heard people praising our mother for being the one behind development of the town called Kaburengu." She said, "Yeah, a lot of people have said that." And then I told her, "Do you know that you are the cause for her developing Kaburengu?" It was so emotional. We all started crying, the three of us. We started crying. remembering our mother. Oh, we had such a sweet mother. Me, I started crying. My sister Lidya Nyakínyua Wamūyū started crying. Our sister, through another mother, our senior mother, Agnes Mokami, we started crying. And then we had a nice supper. By then, my spouse was away on duty. She came. We had a nice supper. The following day, they left. That is the last time I saw my sister alive. Sister, I know you are watching us from up. We love you. We celebrate you. But most important, you did me a great favor. You know, my sister used not to talk a lot. She was, even in the room, she was very quiet. But she used to talk through her own diary. Anything she. So when she died, we a lot of those people who came across to her diary came to know a lot about her. But from there, she went back to Mombasa, wrote in her diary that she was very happy to learn that the Kaburengu security company that I had started was named after a trading center, which is developing very fast, and of which our mother is a founder member of that, and it was done because of her. My sister, sleep well. We miss you. We will every minute, every time we remember you, and we love you, my sister. Nyakínyua, Lidya Nyakínyua Wamūyū. Koma thayo, mwari wa maito, netokenete mono. Some people want me to translate that. I'm talking to my sister. Thank you.